The Village of Hayward respectfully acknowledges that we are on the land gathered on is the unceded territory of the Comox First Nation, the traditional keepers of this land. We will call the meeting to order. Public input. Public input is for the purpose of permitting people in the gallery to provide feedback. It shall be no longer than 15 minutes unless approved by the majority of council. Each speaker may provide a respectful comment on any topic deemed appropriate and not necessarily on the topics on the agenda of the meeting. Each speaker may not speak longer than 2 minutes, but may have an opportunity for a second time if time permits. Each speaker will not be allowed to speak regarding a bylaw in respect to which a public hearing has been held. For the record, you would state your name and address. Are you, no?
Yeah, I think I'm going to.
Please state your name and address.
David Malinsky, 431 McMillan Drive in Hayward, the Village. On June 5th at 2:30 a.m. or just shortly after 2 a.m., there was a structure fire to which I, as part of the volunteer fire department, responded. That particular piece of equipment, to which the village has a significant financial interest, not to mention the personnel. Engine 4 being driven by John Hanson and directed by Jonathan Kervin, at approximately 4 a.m. attempted to back out onto Island Highway 19. Traffic did not stop for John, who was behind the wheel. He was in lights, siren, and air horn. I understand that sometimes the traffic going by is not going to necessarily respond to us. However, that was 2 members of the volunteer fire department, which are technically employees of the village as well as the regional district, and that nearly $1 million piece of equipment, the truck. I haven't thought about this a bit since the incident, and it came to mind that there is a light up sign that comes out of Campbell River. It is brand new. I have no idea how you can get information onto that sign. However, if there was some way for the emergency services to put on the sign, caution, structure fire, Hayward, perhaps the drivers might be a little bit more aware and slow down for us and allow us to get out onto the highway. I have no idea how to get this to happen, but I see it as a pretty critical safety item. Jonathan Kervin came pretty close to being hit by a vehicle. The back end of engine 4 probably was cleared by about 2 feet, but Jonathan had to jump out away. He had to jump out of the way of traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. So is it possible staff in the near future can check into that, please? Thank you. Introduction of late items. You get none. Oh. Councillor Burchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have an introduction of a motion that I'd like to put on the agenda. A motion that Mayor Mark Baker be removed from all committees and boards with the exception of Island.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Point of order.
I'm just
Point
reading
of
my
order.
motion. Doesn't
No,
the
you
motion get
cannot.
voted on? What is the point of order?
Point of order is around what was previously discussed around how.
This is the new,
Illegal.
this is a new motion tonight. This has nothing to do with
No.
anything in the past.
Sorry, go ahead, CAO.
So I respectfully suggest that we move in camera immediately to discuss this.
Okay, so I have a motion to move in camera.
Section.
Section.
Thank.
Excuse me.
Oh my God.
Speak to the CEO with respect, please. Go ahead, Councillor Pilson. Okay, thank you.
I'll just answer the question. So further to section N, consideration of whether a council meeting should be closed under the provision of this subsection.
Thank you. The motion? I need a motion, please, to go in camera. To go in camera, we have to have a motion.
On camera right now is what we're talking about.
Yes.
We have an in-camera session after the meeting.
Yes. So you want to wait for this to be in that?
That seems reasonable to me.
Do you want to put a motion on that, please?
I will move that we.
Why am I being silent?
Excuse me.
Point of
Excuse
order?
me, Point of order.
Excuse me.
I am making a motion that. I am making a motion that the motion that Councillor Burchett would like to bring forward should be placed in the already scheduled in-camera meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, discussion? Councillor Burchett?
Yeah, this is a new agenda item and a new motion, and it has nothing to do with anything in the past, so it should be discussed right now and put on the agenda and voted on.
Thank you. CAO?
Respectfully, Mr. Mayor, this is not a new agenda item. It's actually being handled in camera tonight fulsomely. It's on the in-camera agenda, and it is being addressed fulsomely by staff.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Paulson? Your microphone, please.
I would respectfully like to remind all councillors and staff that the chair is the facilitator of the meeting, and there doesn't need to be three people yelling point of order and not stating what the reason is for. The point of order, the reason for the point of order should be cited by the facilitator, who is the chair. So I hope that we can return to some decorum and stop using points of order simply to stifle discussion, which seems to be happening already tonight, and it happened several times in the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. Just for clarification, anybody can call a point of order. They do have to cite what the point of order is. It just not the chair.
I believe the chair has to cite the point of order.
Councillor Burchett, you have something new to add?
Yes, I'm just wondering why I was not able to finish reading my motion, considering it's a new motion and not something that was already going in camera.
Yeah, that was discussed. Sorry, Councillor Tinsley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe we all are aware of the point that needs to be discussed and has been discussed before. And I believe that the motion relative to having it an in-camera meeting that is already scheduled for this meeting is a reasonable response to that request. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so all in favor? Opposed? Two opposed, motion is carried. We will save that for the in-camera. Approval of agenda. Recommended resolution that the agenda of the regular council meeting held on June 20th, 2023 be adopted. Motion, please.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second,
I will second that.
discussion. All in favor? Oh, just a sec. She asked me to wait a sec. Oh. Okay,
I'd like to add my councillor's report on the revision of the code of conduct
okay.
bylaw.
And you want that to follow your counselor's report on 8A, make that 8B,
Certainly.
staff? Is it a written report or a verbal?
Yes, I have copies for everyone.
Okay, but that wasn't handed in prior to the agenda.
It's a late item.
Late items are time sensitive.
This is time sensitive. We were advised at our course that several policies needed to be revised and updated as soon as possible because they were very outdated and they were lacking some crucial information. So I believe that it is deserving of being a late item and being added tonight.
Counselor Tinsley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Respectfully to Councillor Paulson, I believe that the code of conduct as is reasonable. It should be looked at per Councillor Paulson's proposition. I do not believe it is of timely and urgent nature, and we have a large agenda for both the open public meeting and also the in-cam. Excuse me. I make a motion that it be delayed to the next meeting. Thank you. I'm making a motion. Thank you, Councillor Paulson.
On the late item is the first thing we vote on. On Counselor Paulson's late item. Okay, do we save it for another time or do we go forward? Sorry, CO, sorry, CFO.
Sorry, I just wanted to read out your procedure bylaw, just so you've got the correct information on late items.
Thank you.
So late items, an item of business not included on the agenda must not be considered at a council meeting unless introduction of the late item is approved by council at the time allocated on the agenda for such matters. And section 2, if the council makes a resolution under section 17(1), information pertaining to late items must be distributed to the members. So the first part is council accepting the item to be on the agenda. And if that happens, then the item is distributed to council. Thank you.
Okay, and the item can be distributed at that time the late item is introduced. Is that correct? Okay, so we're voting on whether to add Counselor Paulson's late item. So we had the discussion. No, Counselor Pritchett.
I was just going to move that.
Okay, second. Do we have a second on that motion? Okay, discussion. All in favor of accepting the late item? We have 2, all opposed. 3 opposed, defeated. Okay, back to the agenda for regular council meeting for the 20th, June 2023 be approved. We have a motion, please.
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? 1 opposed? Carried. Minutes of previous that the regular council meeting that were held on June 6, 2023 be adopted.
I'll move that.
Second,
I will second that.
you discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Petition and delegations, none. Correspondence. We have A, B, and C. Does anybody want any or all pulled? Go ahead, Councillor Paulson.
I would like to pull B and C.
Okay, so the recommended resolution to receive correspondence A. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that. I'll move that.
Sorry, your microphone,
Oh.
please.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second,
I will second that.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Councillor Paulson, go ahead with B.
Sorry, for the fire commissioner's annual report. Reading through this, I'm wondering if Sayward Valley Fire Department is aware of this campaign and could they be funded to do public relations for groups such as the school, seniors, Kelsey Center programs, and the public? that was on that one.
Okay, can we get the staff to check into that, please? Thank you.
And for Saywood Futures Society, I'm happy to say that I have a full group of people that have volunteered to help at the gazebo food service and also at serving the cake and hot chocolate at the fireworks on July 1st. And there's a question in the Saywood letter, actually, that invites Mayor Baker to lead the parade. And so I'm wondering where we stand on that, what the answer is, how that will.
Yeah, it's been suggested that I ride with Chief Morgan at the beginning, and I've accepted that. So it's up to the rest of the council whether you're accepted coming into the parade or not. I think we need to let them know that who's going to be in the parade and who's not going to be. So I don't know if you guys have had time to think about it. Everybody's okay. So who's going to be in the parade? Cohen and Councillor Gilkin, Councillor Tinsley. Okay, thank you. So can we send back a letter from the staff, please, saying that Mayor Baker, Councillor Tinsley, and Councillor Gilkin will be, will be attending? Thank you. Okay, so another recommended resolution to accept B and C correspondence. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
You, second?
I will second that.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Council report. That council received the policy for funding donation request, councilors report, information and discussion, and the council, direct staff to draft a clearly written policy for funding, donation request, and present this draft. Can't even speak anymore. Draft to the next regular council meeting for council's information and discussion. Do I have a motion on that, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I will second that.
discussion. Councillor Paulson?
As the submitter, I will discuss it. I think this is a great idea to have something written for funding donations, whether they're in kind or the monetary donations have historically never been approved in the village. And we did get a few requests that were put through. And I think in order to maintain control of the budget and maintain control of the number of requests that come in, that we stay strictly to providing in-kind donations if it's possible. And so I would just recommend that everybody is in favor of this.
I agree. Right? So that's the discussion part. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Reports of committees? None. Mayor's report? None. Unfinished business. Sorry, CAO? Sorry, your microphone, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I think to, in terms of procedure, you resolve the motion for discussion. There's a second part to Councillor Paulson's second recommendation as part of Councillor Paulson's report, which was to direct staff to draft a clearly written policy, et cetera, and present the draft policy at the next regular council meeting.
I read that. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay, and I didn't just hear that motion.
Yeah, no, that was combined with the first. Yeah,
Was it?
it all went through. All good. Okay, staff reports. Village appointments to the CRHRD and the CSWM. That the village appointments to the CSHRD and the CSWM staff report be received for information and discussion. Motion, please.
I'll move that.
Second,
I will second that.
discussion. Your microphone, please, and Councillor Paulson.
First of all, I would like to respectfully ask CAO Gervais where my council report is that I submitted on March something or other. And I do have an email from you saying that you had tweaked it a bit to make some corrections, and yet and at the last meeting, you said that it would be on the June 20th agenda. So I'm just wondering why the council report is not attached to this recommendation from the staff.
CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there's quite a bit of correspondence and information that could have been attached to this. Correspondence from the SRD, correspondence from the CVRD, and various correspondence from them, including the original report that Councillor Paulson wrote. What I attempted to do here was to summarize all of the information received without getting into the weeds. There was a mistake made here, and I think the report here is trying to identify that there was a simple mistake made. This council was asked to appoint a representative to the two committees unnecessarily. This council staff and at the time and this council was not aware of the fact that such an appointment isn't required. It was a simple mistake. And what I've attempted to do through this report is just to not get into the weeds, but to summarize it and get to the finish line as concisely as I can without bringing in all the different opinions of different people about other people and about accidental processes. The facts are here in this report. And respectfully, Councillor Paulson, it's not that I chose to not include it with any intention other than just to use the information and the facts that I found through the investigation process to get us to the finish line. If you'd like me to bring it back with all of that detail, it's going to lead to the exact same place. And I'm just trying to get there in a cleaner fashion, respectfully.
Thank you. Councillor Paulson.
Thank you for that. I have read through this and I have a few points to make about it. I do believe that most of the information that was in my council report is contained in here, but there's a few things that I would just like to clarify. To my knowledge, the village, every inaugural meeting that I've been to in this and the first regular meeting, the appointments have been made on the first at that meeting. And Mayor Baker made them in the previous election, and I know that they were made several times before. And it wasn't always the mayor that was appointed. There were other members of council that did attend. So I'm not quite sure how that all of a sudden came up that they shouldn't be appointed at the inaugural meeting. because why I'm saying that is that the, as you see on the last page, it's within council's authority to appoint a municipal director and alternate to the regional district, as they did following the 2022 election. So this time it was a little different because Mayor Baker was appointed to the SRD and subsequently became the chair. So the way I read this and interpret it is that once he became the chair of the SRD, and I asked him, so who represents Sayward? And his answer was, he does. So he's representing two bodies. But the bylaw that CSWM passed at their first meeting was that the chairs for that committee would be co-chairs from the SRD and from the CVRD. Is that what it's called? Comox. So, and that's what happened. And he explained that to me and I accepted that. And I was told that I was no longer on the committee. So where it says that the chair is appointed to the CSWM, then I would assume from that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but then Councillor Tinsley, who was appointed as the alternate, would no longer be the alternate because Mayor Baker is representing the SRD and his vice chair would then be the alternate.
How Waste Management said to me, there's only, regardless if I'm the chair of the SRD or not, they can only have one representative from one community. And you happen to be the chair of the SRD. So because there was one person from Sayward, which was myself, there couldn't be another body from Sayward as part of that because of the voting and so on and so forth.
Understood that way back when you explained it to me in the end of November,
And
when all of this came about.
where some of this confusion came out is when I was first elected mayor back in 2020. I had a conversation with the former mayor, John McDonald. He said to me, he said, the mayor, once you're on the SRD, you automatically are on the hospital board and the waste management. I'm telling you the conversation him and I had. He said you should get Sue to be the representative for hospital and waste management because you have a steep learning curve. And because normally whoever's on the SRD is on those boards, is on the waste management and the hospital board, normally is how it works. So I said yes, because I did have that steep learning curve involved. I didn't know when I became the chair of the SRD how things were going to change. But apparently we've done it wrong from the beginning in terms of the appointment portion of the program that you saw. Councillor Tinsley?
Yeah. I believe that we've acknowledged that we're mistakes making. I believe that there is another review of it again in November of this year. And I believe we need to move forward. So I make a motion that we accept the report as is. Thank you.
Any other further discussion? Councillor Paulson? Your microphone, please.
Point of order. I made a motion.
Yeah, but there's already a motion on the table.
Okay.
So you-
How do we address that? Can I make a motion to amend that emotion? How does that work?
You could do a friendly, but we have to vote on that motion first, and then you can do a friendly on that, correct?
All right.
So we have to vote on that motion first, and then you can make a friendly, but we can't. We can't jump from the original motion to a different motion and then go back? Go ahead. Somebody?
My confusion is I believe Councillor Polson was just getting ready to say something. And without saying something was interrupted from as a point of order, but I'm not sure what the point of order would be because she hadn't said anything yet.
Yeah,
So-
so when you do a point of order, you have to say.
So I'm out of order. That's fine with me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Councillor Polson, did you want to finish your statement?
It's pretty difficult in this environment and this atmosphere to gather my thoughts and collect them. So I would like to table this until the next meeting.
Okay, so we have a motion on tabling it to the next meeting. Councillor Burchett,
I'll second that.
discussion? All in favor of tabling it? Right. It is tabled to July 18th, is it? Thank you. B, annual report and statement of the financial information from the SOFI 2022, Lisa Clark, CFO, CO, and Jared Gervais, CAO. So that the 2022 annual report and statement for financial information, staff report be received for information and discussion. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I will second that.
discussion? CFO, do you have anything to add? No? Nope. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. And that the 2022 annual report be made available for public viewing for a minimum of 14 days, beginning June 21st and ending on July 4th, and that council approve the 2022 Statement of Financial Information Report. Motion, please.
I will move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed, seeing none, carried. Kelsey Center Emergency Cooling Enhancement Project. Lisa Clark, CFO. That council receive the Kelsey Center Emergency Cooling Enhancement Project Staff Report for information and discussion. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I will second that.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed, seeing none, carried. And that council approve a budget of $7,500 for the project, and that the budget be sourced from the Growing Communities Funds, and that the 2023-2027 financial plan be amended accordingly. Motion, please.
I will move that.
Discussion? Oh, second.
I'll second that.
Let's talk about it being a second. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Floodplain Management Bylaw. Lisa Clark, CFO, that council received the Floodplain Management Bylaw, staff report for information and discussion, and that that council directs staff to update the Village of Sayward Floodplain Management Bylaw. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I will second that.
discussion. CFO, do you have anything to add? Nope. Anybody else? Nope. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Emergency services, none. Bylaws, none. New business, none. Question period. For the purpose of question period, to enable citizens to ask questions of council about issues that are important to the citizen asking the question. Speakers are asked to limit their questions to one each, and if time permits, everyone would have an opportunity to ask a question. Speaker may ask a second question. Citizens will be asked to state their name and address. Now's your time.
David Malinsky, 431 McMillan Drive. On the corporation of the Village of Sayward, the notes to financial statements, December 31st, 2022, page 10, which is noted in the package, is page 49. There's a portfolio investment section I simply want to understand what the MFA stands for. I've searched for it in terminology and the rest of this document, and I did not see it defined.
Hey, thank you, because we'll get staff to come back to him on that. Or you can just say it. Thank you. Okay, in camera. That in accordance with section 92 of the community charter, this council meeting will be closed to the public in time to order that council may be given consideration to the matter in accordance with the following sections of the community charter. Section 90-1-C, labor relations and other employee relations, and section 90-1N. Right, so we need a motion for adjournment, please.
I'll move that.
Sorry. No motion to go in camera first, sorry.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second,
I will second that.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried, and a motion on adjournment.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that.
discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, regular meeting is adjourned.